Hello. 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 My name's Jorb. My name's Jorb. My name's Jorb. I love gear. 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 And one last time, my name's Jorb. I love gear. Here we are. It's a snowy day in the beautiful American Midwest. And these are the days that actually make me think about the end of the year. You start the day with shoveling. You don't want to go anywhere. It doesn't sound like fun to be on the roads. A day that actually feels like a threshold, that actually feels like a checkpoint. This is when I start to think really about the end of the year and what's happening in the next one. Yes, I'm filming this late, which means it'll go up even later, but I didn't feel like I'd hit a threshold yet. But here I am, and now I'm really thinking about it. It's a chance to look back and remember all the stuff I did this year for me, and certainly within bounds of our relationship, all the stuff that went up on the channel. And of course, that most importantly is about the gear, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I used the most, what I moved on from. This will be in large part about my favorite synths and my favorite pedals, but I'll talk about videos too, as delivered creative works, because this is a good chance to do that. And for the so much snow. For the videos, it's what worked, what I was proud of, and what I didn't get to. It'll be a lot of what I didn't get to this year. Oh, my poor phone. And you guys know how it goes. I sit and talk, I just let myself go. So wherever it ends up, that's where it ends up. But that's it. I'm aiming for somewhere between Spotify Wrapped and a parent-teacher conference. I hope we hit it. My name's Jorb. I love gear. This is my 2023 Gear in Review. I was going to do it all out here, but I don't think I'm going to. Let's start with the good stuff. First of all, thank you to everyone who ever supported me in any way, okay? A view, a comment, a subscription, Instagram follows, Patreon especially, any of that stuff. I have this stuff to sit and talk about because people who support me and people who like the stuff that I'm proud of, and that's amazing. So thank you very, very much. I'm here and I'm working on stuff because people like it, and that means so, so much. Yeah, so thank you, okay? Let's talk about the real good stuff, why everybody's here, the gear. A lot of the time when you see me cover something on the channel, the way I work, especially if it's a sponsored video, it shows up, I spend a bunch of time learning it, I work out a few jams, the best one becomes the intro and the video I put on Instagram. I film the demo, I edit the demo, and then I put that thing on my shelf of stuff so I can get to work on the next thing. That's the cycle for stuff that I get just to show off. If it's something I bought or whatever. But anyway, point is, if I like it, if it connected with me or my workflow or whatever, and I'm working on other stuff and I pull that out, that's how I know that I really connected with something. If I have 100 things that can make a sound and I pick this thing, that's a compliment. So looking back and like with that as my criteria, stuff that I kept using, if you've seen me on any of the other end of the year stuff I've been a part of, you've seen me mention some of these already. For like, I was in Bo Beats. I did a bit for the Emmas. I was in a Perfect Circuit wrap up. You've heard this, but anyway, this year, the new releases that I really, really loved. The first thing that comes to mind is the Pittsburgh Taiga. I'm absolutely in love with the oscillators. Each one has its own wave folder. Every iteration of the Pittsburgh filter has been great, but paired with these like super, super bold oscillators, along with all the utility that's packed in there, it always hits. If I need a mono sound or I want something that's brazen, that's bold before it goes through any effects, the Taiga will get me there. Huge, huge, huge fan of it. The Pittsburgh thing, actually, it's in their branding. It's like on the website and stuff. Analog is important. And that gives you like a clue as to the design perspective and lets you know the parts of the Taiga that are the most interesting, the stuff that's really, really going to be special. Okay, moving on quickly. The Roland S1. It's super, super fun. I grabbed it several times when I was working with another sequencer, so like the Play or my MPC, when I just needed a quick hands-on synth voice. It's cheap, it's fast, running on batteries is awesome, or USB-C is something I have plugged into the desk almost all the time now. Built-in delay and reverb means I don't have to plug in another pedal or run it through any part of the sequencer, sampler, whatever, or any part of the brain. There's essentially nothing to complain about with the S1. And it's the sort of thing that, if you told me Roland would put out something like that, especially after trying the SH4D the same year, I didn't think that this was the sort of direction they were going in. I think both are good and unique. They're totally for different markets though. And the S1 is awesome. So those are the two like new hardware releases that I really connected with, I guess. But as far as like what did I actually use the most this year, again, it's the Take 5. It's the one synth that I use for live shows. Right now that's with my band, the Halloween episode. I'll link to the few tracks we have up on streaming because I know somebody's going to ask. But for that band, for that group, I'm on the Take 5 and I've been playing lap steel for a little while now. If you listen to it, tell me what genre you think it is because I don't even know what to tell you guys right now. But I play synth and lap steel. And the Take 5 is what I used to work out these parts, to write these parts, to do sound design for stuff that we're working on. It's getting a ton of like working on stuff use for me, the Take 5 is. And back to like the stuff I said when I got it in, it would have been 2 years ago, 2022. I like the size, I like the sounds, I love the mod matrix, I love the effects. Yeah, I think it's consistently underrated. I want to see more of the Take 5. Because still, I haven't like tried a polysynth I like better. And I know to me that's like growing a lot and learning a lot on the DeepMind, and this sort of extrapolates or does similar things in some ways. I'm specifically thinking, and I know I say it all the time, the mod matrix, being able to point to the built-in effects for performance stuff. And the 5 voices doesn't bother me. I can tell I'm rambling, but the whole thing with the Take 5 is an experiment or an exercise in being a supporting role. And it's been really, really great for that. Really, really great for me. Okay, that's all. A synth I tried this year that I really, really liked and I think deserved some more credit, some more attention, was the Kodamo Mask 1. There are tons of cool ideas. Its oscillator topology, I guess, is unique as far as I know. And it ends up sounding partway between FM and wavetables, which is very hip, very in right now. It has all these like performance considerations with keyboard modes. The arpeggiator can do some unique stuff. Those are things that I haven't seen before, and they seem so obvious. The one I think about specifically is the key mode called Slur, where if you play notes that are close together, it acts monophonically. But stuff like that makes it really playable, I guess, and in a way that I can't believe we don't see more manufacturers experimenting with, especially the big ones who have, you know, people thinking about stuff like that. It's just that sort of innovation, or I guess like the ideas, you know what I mean, in abstract that I want to see from a small company. Just a good enough idea that I think can support a product or product range. I think the Kodamo is an example of that. I would love to see a module version. I think that would be really, really well received. So I'm looking around the room, I'm thinking about other synth stuff. And nothing is really coming to mind. It's like really, really standing out. I guess the Tascam Model 16 that's right behind me, it was part of every single video this year and last year, I think. But I realized that like it deserves its own attention. You know what I mean? Before, like ignoring everything else, it's really, really good at doing multi-track in for when I'm recording for videos. And it's the only reason I can mix my videos. Before I couldn't. And it's like 1,000 times less frustrating. It's 1,000 times less frustrating than the Behringer Xenix 32X or whatever I used before. Even if that had better effects, it was so frustrating, like shit just wasn't working. And this has not been a problem at all. So yes, I think the Tascam should get a full video soon. I'm going to try and get it sponsored by somebody, actually. But pedals, I spend a lot of time with pedals. I like pedals a lot. Stuff that stood out to me that really surprised me, literally on the desk right now. Can you see that? The UA DelVerb. It has sort of replaced the Empress Reverb or the Volante. I always have something on the desk plugged in, ready for something I'm demoing or ready for something I'm learning to add ambiance. And that was the Empress Reverb or the Volante if I wanted reverb or delay. And this does both pretty well. And if I really wanted to tweak either, to dial in either, I probably wouldn't use the DelVerb. But also having them both in one pedal that's powered, you know, at once, it works really, really well. So the sounds are good. It's like surprisingly flexible. It has all the different modes for each of them. Controlling it is super, super quick. So it's perfect for that, like, I need ambiance thing. So I've been ignoring the phone app because most of the time it's not a problem to do that. And after that, I have no complaints. It's just super solid. So yes, DelVerb was a win. And then I wasn't sure which to say because I've been using them all, but the 3 LoFi pedals I've tried recently, that would be Generation Lost, which might have been last year, Ribbons, which also might have been last year, and Lossy, the new Chase Bliss / Goodhertz one. I've been really liking LoFi effects as a finishing thing if I'm trying to get a sound to feel complete. You know what I mean? And yeah, they're all different and they suit different instruments and they suit different use cases. But I think of them, you know what I mean, at the same point in the process. Like, okay, I need something to make the sound feel finished. And I find myself reaching for them a lot, especially for drums, especially for like pads. There's just something, it's almost like another layer of modulation. It's almost like a channel strip. In some ways, it feels like a finishing part of a sound. So the LoFi pedals, lossy, gen loss, and ribbons are all getting a lot of use. You know, just thinking of my original, like, what have I kept using past the review? Those are 3 really good examples of it. I feel like I have to sit up. You guys can see my belly. I think that's everything for gear that I have shown on the channel this year, as far as what I've used a lot. Of course, you guys see me use the Reface CP and the Juno for demos all the time because they're my baseline of that type of a sound into an effect or whatever, but I don't feel like I don't even need to call them out. You see them that often. But so how about stuff that I haven't talked about yet? Stuff I haven't featured. Stuff you can expect me to cover as we go into the next year. I've used it in a few demos, my Oberheim DX. It's a drum machine with the stretch attachment. It's super sick. I love it. I like that point in instrument history. I like that point in instrument development history, I guess. But it's an insane thing for me to own right now. You can find samples of it online. You know, it's not an interface that is superior in enough ways to the drum interfaces I already have that I need to keep it. So I want to do a video. My plans include you can burn new sounds. You can burn EEPROMs for it. And I think that's a cool exploration of history, and it means I can do like custom samples through it, and I'll send those out for you guys. I'll let those be a download for everybody, like all that stuff. So I'm excited to do that, and I have to do it so I can sell it, because that's $1,000, $1,200 that I don't need to be sitting around. Another thing that I bought a long time ago that hasn't been on the channel yet, my longest running project is the Octave Kitten. I think, you know, those memes that's like the iceberg, the very bottom of that is Jorb has an Octave Kitten. It's been like 2 years of constant setbacks. It was in way worse shape than it was supposed to be when I bought it. It got damaged in shipping, allegedly. I fixed the sound generation a long time ago. It was part of a demo for Bo Beats during Summer of Synths like years ago. It hasn't made sound in a video since that. It's all over. It's the largest amount of raw footage I've ever collected. And it's all been filmed on different cameras. It is such a chore. It's so much. It's literally taking up a ton of space on the hard drive. I was going to make it the Halloween special this year, and I didn't get around to it. So like my biggest problem at this point is, you know, one, fixing it. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I don't know if it's in my ability to fix the keyboard, okay? Why would I have figured it out until I got to this point in the repair? Why would I have known? Why would I have thought to check, did this guy send me a keyboard that fits? It's compatible. That is true. I have tested it well enough to know. Does that f***ing matter when it can't even fit into the case? Christ. That's my biggest problem. But I could chop it off and make it a module. None of that matters, because no matter what I do, I don't know if the final project is going to be that fun to watch. Okay, so I really need to come to terms with that. I'll touch on stuff more about like the video stuff later, but the Octave Kitten will be featured in its own video on the channel this year. I don't know what it looks like yet. Okay, that makes me think of 3 other vintage boards. I can look at them right now that haven't been featured yet. My JX8P, which has been in a few demos, my D50, which has been in a few demos, and I borrowed an Alpha Juno from a good friend of mine. Thank you, Bradley. All of those I got specifically for a classic sort of Jorb view, where I went through how they work and what they're like. I like doing that on old stuff, even if it doesn't have to be like a great idea, like an exciting video. I just like the idea of having those resources out for people. From my perspective, I like doing that. Oh, and I bought a Moog Matriarch to do a video on. I've spent some time with it, not enough to have like great ideas yet, trying to figure out what makes it special and sort of lean into that, and trying to see if it's a good fit for me, because I haven't had a Moog since I sold my Sub 37, I think, and I'm excited to try something else. I'm sort of making it from hardware to videos, so I guess let's talk about that. And I'm talking more about what is about to happen. So like stuff that I really, really was proud of this year. When I did the SH4D video while I was in New Zealand, I loved making that. It became about solving problems, figuring out how to even structure it, and like how to film it, and that made it a lot of fun compared to me sitting here in the basement. So I like that. I want to do more stuff where I'm not in the house. Even the beginning of this, I filmed it outside just because it just feels fresh for me, and that makes me think it'll feel fresh for you guys. Yeah, I have one, like, I think actually very good idea for stuff filmed not here, and of course that's how I'll do Super Booth and KnobCon if I manage to do them. And, you know, I've got some medium good ideas, but, you know, you'll see those when they happen. I just love doing that, I guess. But another video, one I really, really liked that did bad, the Game Boy video, it was a lot of creative use of stuff that I don't think people are that familiar with. But the end goal was something I thought people would be curious about. Oh, you can make a 6-voice synthesizer out of Game Boys. It felt like a clickable title, you know what I mean? And I think that was a good idea. I really do. And I think I delivered well, and I explained the concepts, you know, at a pace that wasn't like super boring, but it just did not hit. Sometimes that's just the way it goes, and I get that. Or maybe I was wrong about how interesting it is to turn Game Boys into a synthesizer. But I loved making that. I loved having the idea, thinking of what hardware would work, and then getting help from the companies to do it. It was just great. So, you know, I think this is actually a good segue. I didn't do the 2 specials that I normally do. I normally do April Fool's Day and Halloween. I did them the first 2 years, and the 3rd year would have been 2023, and I missed it. I love doing those. I like breaking the formula. I learn new things from forcing myself into new styles, but I didn't have good ideas for either this year. And the last, I'm actually kind of embarrassed from the last April Fool's Day video. It was not nearly as funny as I wanted it to be. So I didn't have good ideas, and I didn't have good ideas that fit into also being a good video. And you know what I mean? I'm at the point now where whenever I put out any video, I want it to be a good video that I'm proud of, that has a good idea, and I want it to do well on YouTube from a performance perspective. They're different goals, you know what I mean? Like, my best video from a lot of perspectives could be one that performs poorly, or the stuff I'm most excited to make, you know what I mean? Especially repair content is a good example of that. I love making that, but like the work to pay out is so bad. But they're different scales, right? I got laid off again. This is once again my primary source of income. But part of that part of that making that work is getting videos that do well and videos that perform well. It just is unavoidably part of trying to make this work. But I know, like, so far I've leaned way more into this is what I want to make, and I won't get on camera if I'm having, you know, a day where I don't want to get on camera, because you guys can tell when I'm not excited, and that, you know, everything suffers from that. I guess the piano bass, the Rhodes piano bass video is a good example of just, I'm excited about this. I don't have any direct financial incentive to do this. It's just, it's coming from me, from what I want to talk about. And it ended up being a good video. And it ended up being well received, like in terms of like the algorithm and people's responses. And maybe I got a good thumbnail. Maybe the intro was snappy in a way. Some combination of things made that work. And I was really excited to be working on it. And I need to get better at that, right? I need to get better about, you know, every video is an idea I love and something that does really, really well. And again, if I'm super, super lucky, a company sponsors the video. So what does that, I guess, what does that mean? Like, I rambled again, but like, what does that mean for next year? What's happening in terms of the way I approach videos and what you guys get to watch and see? I want to have every good idea become a good video. And I want to take the chances for a good video, like the specials, you know, like a convention, like a trip, I guess. But I want to take those chances for a good video and have a good idea to fit into that. You know what I mean? I want everything to feel like it's both. A good idea that does well on YouTube. So that's it. I'm really excited about next year. Thanks again to everybody who supports in any way, Patreon especially, subscribers especially. Views and comments even are a huge reason why I get to be here. So it only happens because of people. So I really appreciate that. If you care about this stuff, I hope it was interesting to you. You know, you can tell I just sit and talk. I like to sit and talk. I had notes, but I never quite follow them to the T. We'll see what this turns into when I edit. But there you go. 2023 was good. A little weird. There were moments where I wasn't as productive or as creatively engaged as I would have liked. And it would be very, very nice if I still had a job. But I'm proud of everything that I did get out. I'm proud of everything that I accomplished. And it doesn't happen without support. So really thank you, everybody. 2024 is going to be great. I got a lot of good ideas. And I think I'm in a place, I think I have it in me to really execute on them. So there you go. Like I said, partway between Spotify Wrapped and a parent-teacher conference, probably more a parent-teacher conference. But thank you for watching. I hope this was interesting to you. I hope you're also looking forward to 2024, and I hope it goes well for you. I really do. So there you go. My name's Jorb. I love gear. Thanks for watching. Cheers and so long.